This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
This is Capital Connection. Fridays during the Noon Report, we give you direct connection to all that's happening in Albany and Harrisburg with the experts on the issues at the state capitals. They are, as always, Jason McGuire with New York Families and Michael Geer at the Pennsylvania Family Institute. Well, Michael, I want to begin with you this week. A tough topic, but a necessary one because we're all living it. June is so-called Gay Pride Month. We see the flags everywhere. We see the rainbow, the symbol from God, being hijacked and used for a purpose that Bible-believing Christians say has no reason being used that way, but here we are. So how do you recommend Christians respond to Gay Pride Month?
Well, I guess to use an oft-quoted phrase from Ephesians 4:15, we need to respond by speaking the truth in love. God's unchanging word is clear about the nature of sexual sin, and we must not abandon that truth in how we live, what we say, and how we engage with others. So we cannot submit to or embrace this idea of Pride Month and follow the path of least resistance just to get along with the crowd. The truth is too important. But we also must remember to treat every human being with respect, understanding that we all sin and fall short of the glory of God, and we're all created in the image and likeness of God. So it's a balance of unwavering truth and God-honoring love.
Jason, I'll kind of ask you the same question. What advice would you give people who struggle with the bombardment of gay pride in your face all month long? What's the Christian response to this?
Well, one, I think people can be encouraged. There was recent Gallup polling that shows that there has been a decrease in support for same-sex marriage. It's really at its lowest point since 2016. We are also seeing that many corporations are pulling back from supporting this so-called Pride Month. The general population is just not as supportive as it once was. But I don't want to think of it as an us versus them mentality. I think one of the things we can do as believers, and it's important that we do, is that we offer positive alternatives. We should be celebrating marriage. We see, for example, that Dr. Robert George has been promoting Fidelity Month, and it's a great opportunity. You'll see people on Facebook and other social media posting a picture from their wedding day and just a simple statement celebrating marriage between a man and a woman. It's not an offensive thing. It doesn't have to attack what is going on the other side. It just lifts up and exalts what marriage really is as God intended it to be. And I think we as a culture need to be celebrating that more.
Yeah. As Jason alluded to, Michael, Gallup has U.S. support for gay marriage at 65%, still a majority, but that's down to its lowest level in over a decade. Is it getting more difficult, you think, for church and government leaders to take a stand for God's design for marriage and family? And if so, how come?
It's been hard for some time now. 20 years ago, Pennsylvania's U.S. Senator Rick Santorum was boldly outspoken in support of marriage between one man and one woman. And then he suffered significant criticism as the LGBT movement looked to make him an example. And that ended up scaring, I think, many other politicians from just simply staying away from the issue, and even some pastors as well. The hope is, and even seeing with these changes in the polls, that people awaken to the troubles that come with these decisions and head in the opposite direction.
Gay marriage, Jason, nationwide has been legal for more than a decade. Hard to believe. I think it was the Obergefell v. Hodges decision, if I'm correct. For 10 years now, over 10 years, this has been the law of the land in all 50 states. I wonder if you could, for our audience, just explain what the net effect of this Supreme Court decision has been the past 10 years.
Yeah, I think that Obergefell decision really has impacted how people view parenthood in particular. And I think that's something we have to remember, is that there are children that are being harmed in these relationships. And so we're seeing that, for example, in the legislature this week here in New York. Senator Louise Sepulveda is seeking to take the word mother and father out of paternity legislation and simply using the term gestating parent. Here we are really sandwiched between Mother's Day and Father's Day quickly approaching here. And in the middle of it, we are seeking legislative efforts here in our state to remove the very notion of moms and dads. That's not a child's best interest.
Well, hey, let's turn our attention to something we can all celebrate, no matter what political stripes you wear, and that is America's 250th birthday this year. I don't know if you guys heard or not. It's been mentioned a time or two. 250 years as a democratic republic this 4th of July. Michael, I'll start with you. Explain, if you would, what's the secret sauce here to our staying power as a nation?
Well, Jason and I both had the opportunity to attend on May 17th and rededicate 250, a national jubilee of prayer, praise, and thanksgiving. And I think if we look to America's founding, it was based on these biblical principles and understanding that we need to turn to God through our history. When Abraham Lincoln in his Thanksgiving proclamations was talking about both the terrible devastation that was going on in the country with the Civil War, but encouraging the country to turn to God. I think that is, if you want to talk about a secret sauce, it's that God's hand has been on this country, and that to the extent that we turn to Him and dedicate ourselves to Him, God will continue to give us the freedom that we have been blessed with over these 250 years.
Well, I admit, Jason, I'm a history buff. I've been watching the HBO drama John Adams. It just struck me at how tedious our country was at the beginning. It could have collapsed right away, but it didn't. When you think of America at 250, what strikes you as significant or unique to our form of government?
It's the very notion of liberty. Sometimes we think of liberty as meaning you can do whatever you want, whenever you want. It's really not what it is. It's really walking within the principles of what God's Word teaches, and that's where the greatest freedom is. And I think many of our founding fathers understood that, and the American people understood that as they walked in obedience to God's Word, they would see the blessings of obedience in their lives and on the nation. And when they walked outside of the ways of God's Word, there would be a curse of disobedience. But I think there's also a greater principle that applies to every nation and to every people, that if they seek after God, we can expect certain blessings of obedience, and if we don't, the curses of disobedience.
Yeah.
And so it's a great opportunity for us at this 250 to look ahead to the next 250 and to say, hey, if we want to be a people that are blessed and see God's favor, then we have to be a people that will seek after Him.
Yeah. And Michael, you heard Jason talk about the next 250. I've heard a lot of commentators talk about, should the Lord tarry, will we make it to 500 as a nation? It seems a long way off, but we already talked about some of the things undermining the family. We see just the political strife in our nation right now. Can we survive as a country another 250 years?
Well, as I look coming from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, where I'm speaking to you from now, we think about the history that came out of Philadelphia. There's a movie that was just out this spring that's now available on live streaming and DVD called A Great Awakening that talks about America's history. And I think when you look at that, it looks at the relationship between Ben Franklin, one of our founders, and George Whitefield, an evangelist who helped spark the Great Awakening here in America. I think if we are to last another 250 years, it's going to be another Great Awakening that we need to have in our country, turning our hearts back to God and to realize that, as Jason talked about, our liberties are a gift from God. Ben Franklin recognized that through his friendship with George Whitefield and encouraging in the Constitutional Convention when they were at a crisis point to say, we need to turn to God. That's what the country did, and we need to do that going forward.
Well said, Michael, and that is a great film. Highly recommend folks watch it. And then, Jason, we'll end with you. Historically speaking, every 250 years or so, a civilization will undergo a dramatic reset. These are the moments where governments rise and fall. We saw it with the Roman Empire. We saw it with other great civilizations throughout antiquity. What do you think will determine the longevity of these United States of America?
We've alluded to it already, but it's going to be the favor of God, whether or not we're walking in obedience to Him or not. We are undergoing as a people some tremendous revolutions. We think of what has been happening throughout history, and we saw the industrial age, different things that have hit our shores. And, Senator Ben Sasse has been talking about the revolutions going on now regarding AI and how we approach that. It will likely determine what America will look like in those next 250 years. At its core, what a time to be alive. This is an opportunity for believers now in all 50 states to humble themselves and to really cry out to God for our nation. It is not common that nations like ours can survive that long. This has been the hand of God on our nation, and what a time to pray and intercede and to be here that we might have liberty liberty for our generation and future generations, this is an amazing opportunity to really take a stand as a believer.
I love it. What a time to be alive. Just quoted Jason McGuire there. Hey, this is our last show of the summer. We'll be back in the fall, Lord willing. But if you want to learn more about Jason and Michael's organizations, the great work they're doing throughout the summer months, they don't take the summers off, although we will be. Jason, where can people learn more about New York Families?
NewYorkFamilies.org.
And the Pennsylvania Family Institute, lots going on this summer. Michael, where can folks find you?
PAFamily.org.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.